to the Davao Oriental State University Council, to the organizers of this event, to the panelists, to my fellow presenters, ladies and gentlemen, good day. Today, I will be presenting the thesis entitled Challenges, Coping Mechanisms, Insights, and Practices in Teaching and Learning Mathematics, the New Normal Phenomena. Together with me is Dr. Gemma M. Valdez, my advisor, the same time the co-author of this study, and yours truly is Mr. Maven R.S. Nuevo. With this topic, several related literatures were read and considered, and for the introduction, it is said by the UNESCO in 2020 that one of the areas where the COVID-19 pandemic is having the most impact is in education sector. Thus, the academic institutions were forced to temporarily close in order to stop the virus from spreading and reduce the number of infections. And with that scenario, the Department of Education has released Step Order number 12, 2022, which is all about the basic education learning continuity plan, which is again established to ensure that learning continues regardless of the circumstances. The BELCP is a set of teaching interventions designed to address the basic education problems posed by COVID-19. Most essential learning competencies were also considered, now which are linked to the acquisition of 21st century skills that are such as collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, and communication. And teachers must extend their patience and hard work in teaching mathematics during the pandemic, as survey results in America reveal that 37% of students aged 13 to 17 find math to be the most challenging subject, according to Mahanda 2019. And still, Sobchak and Sparks in 2020 has said that practicing arithmetic is not something that comes naturally or intuitively. It requires a significant amount of effort. In addition, unlike reading, math is almost typically taught in a formal setting at school. Parents, on the other note, serve as teachers and tutors of their children's learning tasks at home, which they are frequently unprepared to assist their children in arithmetic, at a time when parental assistance is even more critical to student achievement. So with all of those considerations and findings, the researcher intended to explore the challenges, coping mechanisms, insights, and practices in teaching and learning mathematics of the alternative delivery mode in classrooms of new normal. And here is the statement of the problem. First, we will be asking about the challenging experiences of mathematics teachers and their students in the abrupt transition of learning modality, as well as their coping mechanisms to address those challenges and their insights on the alternative delivery mode, as well as their good assessment practices done in their chosen alternative delivery mode. And for the significance of this study, of course, this study is beneficial for the DepEd, particularly to its officials and to the mathematics teachers, the students, and of course, to the future researchers. For the delimitation and limitation of the study, since this is phenomenological approach, so it also had limitations, particularly in terms of the findings to generalizability. So the lack of generalizability is one of the fundamental drawbacks of smaller sample numbers, as according to Mariam and Tisdale in 2016. Furthermore, the participants were junior or senior high school math teachers and their students at selected schools in the two districts of Baganga, Davao Oriental. The research was carried out using an in-depth interview for which a semi-structured interview questionnaire was created in English for teachers and was translated into Cebuano for students. And again, this used purposive sampling method. And the following are the terms that were defined operationally in these studies. And the focus of this research is mostly on transactional distance. And here's a 3D model of Moore's transactional distance theory by Daniel Board. So as you have seen there, the three considerations are present, such as the structure, the dialogue, and of course the autonomy. So we will be proceeding to the methodology. First is all about the design. This phenomenological study focused on teachers and students' various lived experiences in alternative delivery mode of teaching and learning. The approach was phenomenological since it necessitates a thorough analysis of the participants. Now, for the collection, this qualitative study is used phenomenological inquiry through personal in-depth interviews to obtain the experiences of 5 mathematics teachers and their 5 students as participants. Data analysis, Colizzi's descriptive phenomenological method, was used to get the themes for this study. This method consists of 7 steps: familiarization, identifying noteworthy statements, framing meaning, grouping themes, developing a data description, establishing the fundamental structure, and obtaining fundamental structure verification. And of course, establish and determine trustworthiness and qualitative investigation, the characteristics were considered such as the credibility, dependability, transferability, and confirmability. So, ethical consideration was also present in this study. There were three ethical ideas mentioned here, such as respect for persons, beneficence, and justice. Now, we will be proceeding to the results of the study. This is divided into two categories or presentations, such as the teacher's perspectives first, followed by students' perspectives. Here's the challenging experiences of mathematics teachers in the abrupt transition of learning modality. Themes that arose in the analysis of the data. So first is there were unpreparedness to teaching modality. Second is the timeliness of learning materials distribution and retrieval. And third one is the validating students' learning. So for this time, we will be now proceeding to the coping mechanisms of mathematics teachers in their challenging experiences during the analysis of the data. First is contextualization and adaptation of learning materials. Second is the use of social media and educational apps. And the third one is the conduct of home visitation. Insights of mathematics teachers on alternative delivery mode as the third theme under teachers' perspective. So first is alignment to MELCs, or the most essential learning competencies. Second is the dissatisfaction with the quality of instruction. The third one is the prepared class format, followed by strengthened community collaboration. We will be proceeding on the good assessment practices of mathematics teachers on alternative delivery. The essential themes that arose. First is ensuring performance tasks in the summative test. Second is the use of apps in instruction and assessment. Third one is the other alternative assessment form. Now this time we will be proceeding on these students' perspectives. First is all about the challenging experiences of students. The themes that arose. First is the absence of physical teacher. Second one is the unfollowed weekly home learning plan. And of course, the third is lack of gadget and poor internet connectivity. Second one is all about the coping mechanisms of students in their challenging experiences. Are the three essential themes that arose in the analysis of the data. First is seeking assistance from the teacher, relatives, and peers. Second is to create home learning setup. And third one is borrowing learning resources. And here's some students on alternative delivery mode. In the analysis, first is the student autonomy. Second, the need of physical teacher. And third one is practicing time management. So here are to the good assessment practices on alternative delivery mode from the student's perspective. Themes that arose during the analysis of the data. First is all about the feedbacking. Second is on the supplemental video lessons. And third one is provided performance-based assessments. Now the conclusions and recommendations of challenges, coping mechanisms, the insights, and the assessment practices of the mathematics teachers as well as on the students. So their challenges again for the teachers included unpreparedness to teaching learning modality, the timeliness of learning materials distribution and retrieval, and validating students' learning. The students, on the other hand, their challenges involved absence of physical teacher, unfollowed weekly home learning plan, and lack of gadget and poor internet connectivity. Mechanisms. First is for the teachers, there were contextualization and adaptation of learning materials, there were use of social media and educational apps, and there is, of course, a mile service, an extra mile service they have undergone, such as the conduct of home visitation. For the coping mechanisms of students, they were seeking assistance from the teacher, relatives, and peers. They create home learning setup, and of course, they borrowed learning resources. The insight extracted from the teachers were alignment to MELCs, the dissatisfaction with quality of instruction, the preferred class format, and strengthened community collaboration. And for the insights of students, covered student autonomy, the need of physical teacher, and practicing time management. The teachers revealed their good assessment practices, namely the ensuring performance tasks in summative tests, the use of apps in instruction and assessment, and other alternative assessment forms. From the students group, from their end, they viewed assessment practices of their teachers by means of providing feedbacks, supplemental video lessons, and performance-based. That we could say, in the transition of learning modality, the learner autonomy of transactional distance theory was evident among students in the abrupt and the pursuit of their academic quest in these trying times over COVID-19 pandemic. And the flexibility and rigidity of their chosen alternative delivery mode and or the structure of modular distance learning and of the usage of social media and educational apps were not that enough for both students and teachers to aspire for a quality education despite the pandemic. And other theories were also considered and discussed here. For the implications for practice for Teachers may use this information of the study, the findings, to create a program like Adopt a Child, which focuses on assisting students, the struggling students with illiterate, I mean, with parents who have little knowledge on mathematics. They may use or they may continue conducting home visits as part of their program in order to provide support to the student. And they should be well equipped on the facilitation of psychosocial support for learners so they could provide assistance to students at all times and in all forms. And they should be required to capacity building and developing an outcomes-based education and be more exposed to hands-on seminars on technology-based instruction to cater students who prefer blended learning or pure online teaching. For the implications among students should be given with utmost guidance and shall feel the DepEd's mantra, no student left behind, especially during these days. And regardless of their academic performance and social status, the teachers may consider reaching out to fully direct them with their academic endeavors and situation at home. That there should be an intensive psychosocial support may be given to them to prepare them with the government warrants them to be fully present at school. And the school should also provide self-paced learning activities to direct them do stops on occasions for the DepEd officials and other school heads, since alternative delivery modes are still utilized even there were limited classes have started. This must still be closely monitored by higher officials and the department authorities in order to validate the participants' responses. They could develop policies, programs, and webinars to address the teachers' identified issues. And the officials can improve the self-learning modules, for this can be used as supplemental teaching materials in classroom teaching. They might also look for connections and partners who are willing to donate ICT equipment and tools to teachers and students. Then the budget allotment for materials needed to print modules, transportation during home visitations, and relevant capacity trainings may be extended by the school heads. And for the future research, it is recommended to conduct the same study in the broader range of locations and a more significant number of participants to gather more factual information. A triangulation of data might be considered with the presence of others in the study, such as the school heads, the parents, barangay officials, and other stakeholders. And finally, this study, particularly located at the same municipality through upcoming researches may possibly concentrate to other schools or teachers and students of neighboring municipalities in the province of Davao Oriental and even beyond. Writing this research, which is, well, I now have this finding and remain open to new possibility. And here are the references cited in this study from the beginning and up to the end of this manuscript.